Hi friends, strangers, internet. My name is EmilyHanhan. I love colorful makeup and colorful language. Today we're going to be doing a Get Ready With Me. I'm going to be doing this look on my face, but I'm also going to be talking about some things that are really important to me. I'm going to be talking about kind of self-soothing, stress shopping, things that we do to self-medicate, especially for anyone that has social anxiety or stress shops. It likes the endorphins that shopping brings you. We're going to be talking about the fucked up systems that are in place here in America and how we all do what we have to do just to keep going every day. If you are instantly interested in these colorful shenanigans, you might as well go ahead and subscribe now. Like the video now. Go ahead and share it. And then we will jump right into me getting ready and putting together this yellow and blue moment. So I've been thinking about this concept of self-soothing and how in a lot of ways it is very looked down upon. So when I think of self-soothing, I think of like stress shopping, even alcoholic beverages, or, Christian tobacco, the devil's lettuce. But really, I guess my focus is kind of the idea of stress shopping and, social anxiety and that kind of stress. So I think about these a lot because these are things that I struggle with. So both kind of stress shopping, soothe shopping, and also like social anxiety and feeling like I need my phone or an alcoholic beverage or perhaps an edible to help me get through a situation, a social situation. Let's first talk about, though, the more makeup side of things, because I know that's why a lot of y'all are here. So there's this whole thing about basically, don't stress shop, don't shop to soothe. And so what happens for a lot of us is that we are dealing with something either work related, life related, relationship related that makes us feel unhappy, frustrated. I mean, there's any range of emotions we could be feeling. And in that moment, perhaps rather than dealing with the thing or having a difficult conversation with a friend or a family member or coworker or, just kind of stewing in it, we shop. And in the age of online shopping, this is especially easy. And in the age of the pandemic, and for some of us being home a lot more often, even if we are working from home, having the access to the whole wide world on the internet makes it so much easier. And whether you are shopping to get you out of your state of boredom, or you're shopping to avoid work, or any number of things, or avoid the news, or in response to your partner doing something disrespectful or frustrating, you're like, fuck this, I'm gonna go online, I'm gonna shop, I'm gonna look for a sale, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And I understand that shopping addiction is real. It is a real thing, and I think more of us struggle with some version of that with our life, on a daily basis, on a regular basis. This video is not here to deny the intensity of shopping addiction, or, that it is a struggle, and, it's not something that I'm diminishing by any means. But when you're in that space, so I'm trying to figure out what all I need to explain. So for most of us, for a lot of us, what shopping does is that it can release endorphins. that feeling, for some of us, it's the feeling of looking for the thing, of hunting down the best deal, of looking at reviews and trying to figure out the best thing to buy, of, you know, looking at the most luxurious, or the one that your favorite influencer has recommended the most, or the most of your favorite influencers are loving, or any like combination of things can get us excited and get us feeling those happy endorphins. Of course, endorphins are happy, but get us feeling those endorphins. And then for a lot of us, once you check out, the endorphins are gone. For some of us, when the stuff gets to our house, we might feel a similar happiness, but for a lot of us, we might not. By the time things actually arrive, I think one of two extremes can happen. In a good way, you can forget about it, and then you're like, oh my god, I did order the blah blah blah, or oh, it came a day earlier than what UPS was saying, or anything like that. For others of us, when that thing gets to the house, we're just like, oh yeah, I ordered that. Oh yeah, I did that. And sometimes the endorphins don't return to us because seeing the product is a realization of the money spent and the money that, we might not really should be, blah, 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 that we maybe shouldn't have spent. Not that we're like in debt from it, but maybe we just figured out once we spent the money that we could have been a little smarter. So any combination of those things can give you some endorphins. And I think especially in 2020, when I feel like endorphins are kind of hard to find, it can be really easy to kind of fall into the trap of just always going and looking for the next thing to buy, and not even caring so much about when the actual thing gets to our house. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this, and why I don't, the crux of the issue, and the reason why I don't think that like Soothe shopping is the worst thing that you could do in your life, is because this country, and by the way, the country that I live in is America, this country does not allow for us to actually get the mental health assistance that we need. So while we're over here, stressed, maybe overwhelmed at work, or perhaps in a relationship that is challenging or that we're struggling in, or we have family in our life that are calling us shitty names, or commenting on our body, or commenting on our relationships or our work, or any mix of different things that we could be dealing with. We don't have a system that we can just go and get the help we need, because all of our health insurance is generally tied to employment. Yes, there is the marketplace, but it's pretty fucking shitty. It's a start, but it's not really the answer. And for a lot of us that are not working, or not working full time, maybe we did have a job that had health coverage, but we don't now. Maybe our job does have health coverage, but the health coverage doesn't extend to, mental health, psychiatrists and psychologists. So we're just stuck here. We're stuck in our own brain. We're stuck in our own lives. We're stuck in our own work. If we're working right now, or if we're not working, we're stuck in that kind of reality. We don't have systems that are giving us the support that we need. We don't have systems that allow us to go speak to a professional, that allow us to get the medicine that might help us, or adjust medicine if we're on something and it's not working. We don't have that for us. So to sit there and say, oh, you know, Soothe shopping is wrong and nobody should do it. You know, it's really irresponsible, even as YouTubers, like to say that, you know, all YouTubers are being irresponsible with their content by showing the amount of shopping that they do because they're Soothe shopping or stress shopping. I kind of go between those two phrases if it's not obvious. I do understand that, you know, if somebody is struggling with shopping addictions, watching creators that are buying a lot of makeup is probably not the easiest, or I should say is not the easiest. At the same time, I think being able to admit that yes, you do stress shop, you did buy something even though, like, did I need this? No. Was it on sale and I was also feeling kind of shitty in that moment? Yes. So yeah, I bought it. You know, and people can criticize me if they want to. That's fine. But guess what? I also don't have a psychiatrist or psychologist that I can go to. And yes, free and low cost options exist, but right now in this world, finding that is a fucking challenge. And the reality is that free or low cost, like, options that are out there are not an actual option for all people, because guess what? They have limited bookings, they have limited space, there is, you know, income limitations, there are all these different things that will, you know, make actually finding these like low cost mental health help very, very challenging. Am I saying it's not worth the effort? Absolutely not. But for me, the cost of, okay, so if I was going to go into the marketplace and spend my money to kind of get coverage, when I was working full time at the bakery, because they didn't really have something in place for staff that was like, I guess, reasonable. When I went into the marketplace, now it's been a little while since I looked, so this was probably 2 years ago, $500 a month. How the fuck was I going to afford $500 a month on the pay that I was making in New York City? Like, that's just to get a plan. That's not covering any deductibles or anything like that. That's just to get a plan. So how exactly are you going to sit there and tell me that, you know, I need to take care of my issues and, like, not lean on shopping when that's the base cost? Let me tell you, especially back then and now too, I was not spending $500 in my stress shopping. I was not spending $500 in you know, things that helped soothe me socially or otherwise. Like, also, I don't know what I'm doing with this yellow blush look, but I'm doing it, I guess. So, you know, I would never spend anywhere near what just general health coverage would cost me. Does that mean I made the healthy choice? No. But as an American, you kind of just have to make a choice. And more often than not, that choice is one that is not the healthy choice. But you're making, you know, it's literally like, oh, do I pick bad choice A or bad choice B? Bad choice A is going to put me forever in debt and I might feel better. Maybe bad choice B will only put me a little bit in debt and I will feel better, at least temporarily. oh, guess what? I don't have a credit card to be put into major debt to get mental health, so I guess I'm choosing bad choice B. I mean, I guess bad choice A is not actually a bad choice, but it's a choice. But it's just, it's really frustrating because I hear and see people say things that are just so privileged in terms of talking about stress shopping and buying. And I understand that the idea of therapy, or therapy, should not be a privilege. It should be something that literally everyone can get. It should be. But guess what? It's not. We're not there. So to sit there and tell me that my best recommendation is to get therapy, that the best thing I can be doing for myself is getting therapy, that's not really advice. That's like that's not like, no, that I understand that concept. I understand that advice. I would give the same advice if somebody said, I have access to therapy, I have the coverage. I would say, it is worth it. Go through the effort to find a therapist for you. Do it. Go, find a psychiatrist, find somebody that can help you. But if you're a normal American, that's not an option for most of us. And it's so fucked up that it's not, but it's not. And so I just get really frustrated because I guess there's just a lot of privilege in conversations that people have about, like, spending and buying and like what's healthy and what's not, especially, I keep going back to, but like, I think especially within the YouTube space. And I don't think people that say things like that are like, I don't think everyone is like so clueless and they don't understand that there is a privilege there. But I do just be like, I see it being used as the best option, like the course of advice for so many people and so many random conversations. And I'm like, you're obviously forgetting that most of us don't have that access. Or if people that are working that have health insurance, a lot of people don't have the time away from a job to be able to go see all these different different psychiatrists to find the right one or try the different medicines. Now, I still think, if you do have the health coverage, I still highly encourage you to do it. But yeah, I just get really frustrated because I hear people having conversations about the stress shopping thing, and I just don't think people are really considering all the different layers to it. And that just really frustrates me because you're sitting there and just talking down to people. That's the other part of it. Is there's a lot of talking down. There's a lot of well, you shouldn't do that. That's not going to actually, that's not a permanent source of endorphins, or that's not a renewable source of endorphins. You should exercise, or you should do this, or you should do that, or you should see a therapist, or you should. Okay, for some of us, we don't like exercise. It doesn't actually give us the endorphins we want, or people are disabled. They don't have the mobility to do it, or they don't have the access to safe outdoor spaces or indoor spaces where they can exercise. We can't see people the way we were seeing them, because I know for me, the right friends, seeing them can help give me endorphins. It will drain my social battery, but it will give me endorphins. So, guess what? In this year of the Lord 2020, fuck this year, I'm going to stress shop. And yes, I am considering my finances. And yes, I am, my bills are paid. I am, paying for all the shit. I'm paying for all the shit I need to pay for. And does that mean that most of my disposable income goes to makeup because that's what's bringing me the most joy? Yes, it does. Does that mean the makeup you're seeing on my channel right now is perhaps like stress shopping? Yes, it is. So, yeah, I just, this goes to a bigger conversation of when we're talking about kind of all the different things that we as our human selves deal with. When we're talking about like options and fixes and all of that, I really wish that more people would have their privilege at the forefront of their brain. Because again, I hear so many people that I think mean well giving these options or having these conversations, not realizing that they're just drowning out the actual needs of people that don't have access to things like therapy. Because when you tell me that the best solution to these issues is therapy, you're telling me that actually there's not a solution for you because you can't afford the solution. Until you're actually rich enough to pay for that solution, you don't actually deserve it because you're poor. And that is all kinds of fucked up. And that also goes back to my constant feeling of needing to get the fuck out of this country. Honestly, a country with universal like healthcare is at the very, 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 like that's the very top of my list. I don't care if I have to wait. You have to wait to see anybody in this country too. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't know what this look is, but okay. It frustrates me. It really frustrates me. So yes, I'm going to sue the shop. And obviously there is a difference between going so overboard that you can't pay your rent or you can't, but you know what? Okay. This might be an unpopular opinion, but in 2020, right now, if you're in a situation where you're unable to collect unemployment or your unemployment doesn't cover your rent, I don't even blame you for stress shopping over paying your rent because it cut off right as I was going into my landlord rant. I see you, camera, trying to shut me up. But, fuck landlords and fuck this system. So, also, if you're in a situation where, you're buying a few things because it brings you some joy, but you're still struggling to pay your rent, I don't fucking blame you. I just don't. And y'all can, shit talk me all you want. I don't care. I'm tired of this way the system perpetually pushes people into, basically being poor and then shaming them for being poor. Shaming them for getting stuck in the system that the system is built for. Everyone that's like, the system is broken, the system is corrupt. The system is working exactly how it should be, according to the racist misogynists that have built it. So that is why I also don't want to fucking shame people for stress shopping, because guess what? And if you don't have generational wealth, which most people watching this channel probably don't, you not buying that $10 lipstick is not going to get you to generational wealth. So this also goes into can we please stop just shaming people for shopping? Because if you're not generationally wealthy, if your parents and your grandparents and your great-grandparents, if they didn't have money, you're probably not going to reach a point in your life in which you have enough wealth to pass down to another generation. So buy the shit. Enjoy it. That's the other part of it, is that, like, I know even when I posted my indie haul that, you know, I was trying to, like, balance out kind of feeling guilty for what I bought, and at the same time, like, loving what I got and knowing that, you know, I spent my money the way I spent it and I should enjoy it because it's already gone. I already spent the money. So the products that I brought home, I should enjoy and try them out and see how I feel about them. But even though I knew that, and even though I would be the kind of friend or viewer to somebody else to say, enjoy it, you bought it, you spent your money, enjoy it. Even knowing that, I still struggled with just being like, yeah, I spent this money. Yeah, I did that. Like, I still felt guilt. I still felt weird about it. And it's so frustrating because we are stuck in this system where we can't get the help that we need. And then when we do the things that we do to help us feel better, then people in our lives or strangers or both, you know, say things to us that make us question whether or not we deserve the things that we bought. That whether or not we deserve the things that we spent our own money on. So it's literally no win. It's a no win situation because in all layers of it, you're getting shamed and shit on for what you choose to do. And then, you know, if you're over here being like, oh, you know, I'm not shopping right now, or, I mean, I feel like even people that are like, you know what, I'm doing a no buy or I'm doing a low buy, I feel like even those people get shit because it's like, oh, you're just better than us, not spending your money. And I'm sure I've had that kind of reaction too, if I'm being completely fucking honest. Because to me, especially no buys, I've talked about this a little bit, but no buys, I don't want to do that because it kind of feeds into the a little bit of trigger warning. I'm just going to say it quickly, but it feeds into my ED. It feeds into that cycle. It feeds into that part of my brain. And I do not want to, like, that controlling part of my brain feeds into some of the shit from my past. And I don't want to fucking go into that again, ever again. It'll be a forever struggle for me, but I don't want to optionally put myself in a headspace where I'm dealing with that. So anyway, so it's like there is no winning in the system, which is why I always go back to, like, just do whatever the fuck you want. As long as you're not killing other people, do whatever the fuck you want. Also, quick tip. I sometimes like to use little bit of glitter glue, basically my dirty brush, and just like create like a little V'd out shape. And then I'm gonna go back and put some shadow on and do a little like wing that's not a wing. You know me, I love my glitter glue. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I keep coming back to. Just do whatever the fuck you want to do. If you can pay your bills and take care of whoever you're responsible to take care of, shop how you want to shop. So the other part of this that I've talked through with Audra a bit is like self-medicating and self-soothing in social situations. So both Audra and I deal with different forms of social anxiety, or different levels of it, or however you want to say. I'm saying I do. It's not diagnosed, but fuck you, I know what I deal with. Feeling self-conscious, but and kind of the idea of like alcohol and kind of addictive substances, whether it is, other drugs or Christian tobacco, as I said, devil's lettuce, or alcohol, and how for some of us in certain situations we do end up like self-medicating because it lets us actually be present in a social setting. So instead of kind of clinging to my phone and like retreating into that space, or just not talking to almost anybody, or only talking to the two people I might know in a situation, sometimes having an adult libation helps me actually like just get out of my own head. And I mean, does that mean that like I need to have 10 of them to do that? No. Does that happen sometimes? Yes, because in that moment, once you started to feel good, it's kind of hard to think that more wouldn't just feel better. And I think that there's a lot of like shame also put on, drinking and all these things that are considered or that can be addictive. But it's really unfortunate that some people can't look at these things as something that you can do in small doses. I can get a little wasted at one social outing, even before the pandemic, one social outing a month at the most for me, to be honest. Like, a proper outing where I would want to like drink at the most once a month, usually less than that, usually. So if I go and get a little wasted once a month because it gives me the opportunity to spend time with people that I really love and enjoy, and maybe some of their friends or their, significant other or things like that. Now, it's been great. Some of my closest friends, we don't really drink like together, but I don't need to. I don't feel that need because they are my closest friends and they're the kind of people that know a lot about me. Like, they understand, or at least to some degree they understand, my social anxiety and kind of my introverted nature. But around strangers or around some of their friends, maybe not. Maybe I do want a beverage. And it doesn't mean that it's an unhealthy amount of alcohol that I'm consuming, either at one sitting or throughout the course of my, my life. In some states, medical marijuana or recreational marijuana has been legalized. I think that's awesome. I think that's great. I think they need to decriminalize all marijuana charges and make it legal across the country and let a whole bunch of folks out of jail. But, I think it is pretty cool to see that as another choice for, partaking. But at the same time, I think it's kind of weird how with that happening, all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, alcohol is the worst. It's just the absolute worst. Yeah, it is bad. It's pretty fucked up. And drunk driving deaths are also pretty fucked up. But that doesn't mean that like somebody choosing to have a drink or two or three in a social setting to help them feel better, that doesn't mean that they are now like an evil person. And I think I see this a little less. Like, this is less of an issue to me than maybe the shopping part of things. But I wanted to mention it because I feel like for a lot of us with social anxiety, we pick things to help us get through the day. Like, we pick things that help us get through a situation. And whether that's rudely looking at our phone in a social setting because we feel like we need to escape for a little bit, or Irish goodbying at a party because I can't imagine saying goodbye to everybody with the lack of social energy I have right now, or with the freak out I'm going through right now for some reason or the other. we choose to do things that not everyone's going to understand or even agree with. And that's okay. I don't need you to give me shit about it either. Like, you can stay in your corner and deal with how you feel about me, and I'll be over in my corner dealing with how I feel about me as well. So I just think that there's just with all of it, I would really just like people to not push their judgment, their feelings, their shame, their habits onto other people. And to really take a moment to understand their privilege in a conversation before just coming out of left field with your bullshit ass advice that is only relevant for rich people or white people or rich white people. Trying on a Necromancy Cosmetica lipstick for the first time. We'll see how this goes. Okay, that's a look. But yeah, I just think that there are a lot of fixes that people recommend for those of us with social anxiety, for those of us with depression, with those of us with other mental health issues that are just not in reach for most of us. And I'm really tired of the solution to everyone's problem being therapy when the true solution should be burn the system and build a new one. The capitalist American system that we're in right now is built to make us broken and poor and unhappy and unsatisfied and chasing after these goals and dreams that they set into place that are actually not possible to achieve in this system for most of us. So we are always in this state of kind of like self-soothing and trying to find things that make us feel better. Because literally the day-to-day workings of our lives in America make us feel like trash. So, next time a friend is talking about buying something and maybe they spent a little more than they should, or they weren't feeling good so they made a purchase, give them a break. Next time you do that, give yourself a break. If you're somebody that deals with social anxiety and you do need a beverage or two or an edible to loosen up enough to feel comfortable in social situations, give yourself a break. There is a difference between making decisions that help you live your life a little easier and having a problem that needs to be taken care of. Yes, if shopping addiction is something that you struggle with, if alcoholism is something that you struggle with, if it's affecting your life negatively, if it's affecting one of your friend or family members' lives, that's a different thing. That's a different thing completely. But if we're just sitting here buying a few more lipsticks or t-shirts or video games, then maybe we think that we should. Let's give ourselves a little break. On that note, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this or anything that came out of my mouth, I would love for you to subscribe, follow along with my colorful shenanigans, and like this video if you liked it. Share it if you feel like this is a message that you would like more people to hear. And feel free to come find me on Instagram and Twitter at Omnivorous. Thank you so much to my patrons. If you want to check out what we're doing over on Patreon, the link is in the description box. I would also love to have you over there. Please stay safe. Please, please, please take care of yourself. Drink your water. Eat something. Get some sleep. All those basic things that I know we all are still struggling with. And thank you for spending a bit of your day with me. I hope to see you again real soon. Bye, friends.